My dear students, after a long back, I am coming to you with a new vigor. Due to some personal reasons, I could not come up to you. So, today we will start with the history of India. In this context, we will learn the reconstructing ancient Indian history, in which we will learn the early Indian notions of history. Before going to the topic, it is my honest request to all of you, those who have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe my channel, and henceforth you will get the videos not only with your academic but also I will come with your career regarding different competitive exams you are facing in your life, and in order to do better I will try my best to give you the best. So anyway, let's start with this early Indian notions of history. In this context, let us first discuss the reconstructing ancient Indian history. History, as you know, that it is the study of past events and achievements of man. History has its lingering presence on all aspects of human being, be it science, society, economy, politics or culture. In case of India, India has explained to the world about the glories of her past achievements in the sphere of politics, religion, art, architecture, literature, etc. A historian tries to evaluate history totally different situations over an extended period and ask questions as to why certain events happened and what was their impact on society at large. The study of ancient Indian history is significant for a number of factors. Let us know what are they. It informs us how, when and where people developed the earliest cultures in our country. It shows how the ancient Indian people discovered and utilized the natural resources and how they created the means for their livelihood. So, it is essential to reconstruct the ancient Indian history with the help of variety of evidences and their interpretations. Now let us know what is the notion of history. The notions of history is the way and methods in which history is perceived, studied, recorded and passed on through the ages in a particular culture. Generally, this understanding of history is different throughout the world. In ancient times, India had no such historians like Herodotus, Thucydides of Greece or Tacitus and Livy of Rome. The tradition of writing history had not developed in ancient India as our people believe in religion, and they were giving more importance on religious history, religion or moral lessons. In his work Tahqiq-e-Hind, Al-Biruni remarks that the Hindus do not pay much attention to the historical order of things. They are very careless in relating in the chronological succession of their kings, and when they are pressed for information and are at a loss, not knowing what to say, they invariably take to tale-telling. In this regard, S.R. Sharma has justified the statement of Al-Biruni that his version of the lack of historical sense of Indians justified by the paucity of historical works properly so-called in our country down from ancient periods. Materials from which history can be constructed is undoubtedly available in abundance, but very little of it says the character of regular history. A.K. Majumdar asserts that we cannot admit the Hindus had an incapacity for writing history, and our ancestors have not bequeathed to us any reliable historical work for their earlier period. They know the simple act of writing history. In this regard, W.S. Horton and I.J. Trotter, they told that the old Hindus produced not one historian of even the smallest mark. So, this is an absurd remark we can say, because a number of scholars have labelled the charges against the ancient Hindus that they wrote on formal history at any period. R.G. Bhandarkar remarks that India has no real history. The historical curiosity of the people was satisfied by legends. What we find of a historical nature in the literature of country before the arrival of Mohammedans. He, like several other scholars, considers solely Kalhana's Raja Tarangini as the historical work. Now, let us know whether there was any historical sense in ancient India. The opinion in favor of the historical sense of ancient Indians and their historical writings, the German scholar Maurice Winternis, he writes that one must not believe, as it has so often been declared, that historical sense is entirely lacking within the Indians. In India also there has been historical writings, and in any case we find in India numerous accurately dated inscriptions, which could hardly be the case of if the Indians have had no sense of history at all. So, it is the only truth that the Indians in their writings of history never knew how to keep fact and fiction strictly separate, that to them the facts themselves were always more important than their chronological order, and they attached no importance at all, especially in literary matters, to the question of what was earlier or later. In this connection, A.B. Keith remarks that to the old complaint that India has not historians and no historical sense, it has recently been objected, doubtless with a measure of truth, that there is a certain amount of writing and a number of facts attesting a degree of sense for history. In view of the antiquity and the developed character of Indian civilization, it would be indeed be ridiculous to expect to find India destitute of historical sense. But his statements that despite the abundance of its literary history is so miserably represented, and that in the whole of the great period of Sanskrit literature there is not one writer who can be seriously regarded as a critical historian. A.K. Werder has strongly advocated the historical sense of ancient Indians. He has presented in his work abundant proofs of historical writings in ancient India. He says that it is the superficial misconception that ancient India produced little or no historical literature. He has firmly established that there was continuity in tradition of history writing in ancient India from Vedic antiquity to the 12th century AD. Historians like R.C. Majumdar, R.C. Datta, Romila Thapar, etc. They are the noted historians of ancient Indian history, and they have proved beyond doubt that the ancient Indians had a true sense of history, and they produced historical and quasi-historical writings maintained in ancient India. The historical tradition is preserved in the epics and Puranas, the historical biographies, the historical chronicles, and other historical treatises were composed in different parts of India. The Hindus, the Buddhists, and Jainas made significant contributions to the evolution of historiography in ancient India. R.K. Mukherjee has correctly remarked that history is not merely political and chronological and is not to individual and datable facts and events. History is more important and interesting as a history of thought. So, a social and cultural history can also be included in history. Regarding the notions of history in ancient or concepts of history in ancient India, let us know that the people in ancient India had the notion of recording events, but due to the circular notion of time, they recorded history in the embedded form. Embedded history are often studied from sources like myths, epic genealogy, Itihasa Purana traditions, which encapsulates the features of what might be seen as historical experience, the eulogies, the heroics, which are gradually expanded into epic literature. The term used for history in early India was Itihasa, a Sanskrit word which means thus it was or so it has been. Although now treated as a term equal to history, it was then used in a more comprehensive sense which included a variety of subjects along with history. The literary meaning of Purana is old and it was body of literature on the then religious and social life which was thought should be preserved. The three main constituents of the Itihasa Purana traditions are first genealogy, second mythology, and third Vamsanucharitam or historical narrative. The two epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, have elements of historical traditions in the form of genealogy. The Puranas discuss subjects like nature of creation, the relationship between men and gods, maintenance of social institutions, genealogies of rulers and heroes, and eventual end of the universe. Embedded historical facts are to be separated from the general contents of Itihas and Puranas. This tradition did not concern political history, instead showed importance to tradition of lineage in the society. This tradition was placed within the socio-religious context. From the 7th century onwards, a separate branch of historical writing known as historical biographies came up. And the most important historical biographies of early India were Harsacharita of Bana, Vikramadeva Charita of Billhana, Prithiraja Vijaya of Jayanka, and Buddha Charita of Ashwaghosha. Harsacharita of Bana of the 7th century contains mostly rhetorical descriptions and covers the smaller period of the rule of the king Harsa. Billhana's work is about the heroism of his patron, the Chalukya king Vikramaditya of 11th century. Jayanka of 12th century wrote the historical biography of the Rajput king Prithviraj. Atura, the author of Mushakavangsha Kavya depicts the historical biography of his patron king. Srikanta, the ruler of Kolathunda, a regional kingdom in the northern part of Kerala. The best example we find in the dynastic history is Rajatarangini, written by Kallana in 12th century, which is generally accepted as the proper historical work produced in India. Besides this, historical events were also recorded in the inscriptions at the instance of the contemporary kings so as to preserve them as records for the future. The inscriptions of Ashoka, King Kharabada of Kalinga, Rudradamna of Junagadh, the Satavahana, Harsha, the Palas, Senas, Chalukyas, Rashtrakutas, Pallavas, Cholas, etc. are important from both historical and chronological point of view. Now, let us discuss the changing notions of history. Many historians hold that the people in ancient India in general liked to devote their leisure time in religious pursuits rather than writing history. They probably recorded only those events from which they could derive some moral lessons. Therefore, the history of ancient India lay still and undiscovered until the 19th century, when the Britishers initiated the process of modern research in the history of ancient India. The modern research in ancient India history began in 1765, when the East India Company took management of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha in order to administer the Hindu law. The Manusmriti, the ancient Indian text on law, was translated into English in 1776. These initial efforts of the British to understand ancient laws and customs culminated in the establishment of Asiatic Society in Bengal in 1784. In 1904, B.A. Smith, an Irish Indologist and art historian, he wrote Early History of India. It was the primary systematic history of ancient India, but in this book his approach to history was pro-British and he tried to justify the British rule in India. The Indian scholars were disturbed about the way the British were presenting Indian history to their advantage. The two notable nationalist historians R.J. Bhandarkar and V.K. Rajwade took upon themselves the task of rewriting history to show to the world the true glory of Indian culture. The contribution of P.V. Kane is also remarkable. Kane wrote a monumental work entitled History of Dharma Shastras. It highlights the chief parts of ancient Indian society. The Wonder That Was India was one such pioneering work written by A.L. Basham in 1914 to 1900, and it's worked till now. It's a very good book on ancient Indian history. Now let us discuss some important chief characteristics of ancient Indian notions of history. The notions of history in ancient India present complex problems which are still continuing, but let us discuss some important features of it. First is, it is very imaginative. In his book Indica, Megasthenes mentions that he heard from the Indians that they had long ears, so long that they could be matched with those of an elephant, and were so wide that the women folk used them to winnow grains from them. The point is to remember that ancient Indians were very close to the epic age, when the imaginative faculty was so strong that it could soar to any height. Then mixture of false things. So we find both true and false in ancient Indian in Puranas and other religious books. Al-Biruni, a shrewd observer of humanity, he remarks that Indians are the most paradoxical people on earth, for one could excel them in mixing truth with falsehood. Aryabhatta, is perfectly right when he explains how the eclipse of the moon takes place owing to the alignment of sun, moon and earth in a particular posture, a scientific marvel at that period, but the entire remarkable discovery is fully nullified by Rider. Aryabhatta adds by saying that a heavenly dragon devours the moon and hence the eclipse. Al-Biruni is at a loss to understand why a scientific theory should thus be killed by a myth, but this is Indian psychology, which is equally true in the domain of history. Indians reside more in the realm of ideal than the real, and therefore all aspects of their creative genius, whether in art, architecture, sculpture, painting, poetry or drama, is more concerned with a divine conception than the depiction of reality in this world. The Hindu art reveals in variety and complexity and delights itself in rich decoration. Even the great secular epic, the Ramayana, could pass for history from its second to the sixth part, from Rama's exile to his return to the kingdom, but the last part, in which Mother Earth consumes Sita, is typical of the Indian mind. So, to conclude, we can say that the all Indian notions of history were such that the recording of events was not given due importance, although this has created problems in knowing about the India's past, but it cannot be said that Indians had no sense of history or no notion or understanding of history. History was well understood. It was not only acted upon. Historical literature of enormous size exists, but there is hardly any history worth the name except Kalana's Rajtarangani, and even this is faulty in several aspects. So anyway, the people of ancient India were giving more importance on religious ideologies or moral values, but that does not mean that they had no sense of historical writings. So this is all about the early Indians' notions of history. Thank you. Again, I am requesting you to all to subscribe my channel for the next video. Thank you all.